When are all of the hostages finally going to be free? Take a look at this clip over here between Sam Harris and Douglas Murray, and they get into the nitty gritty between the difference ideologically between the Israeli Defense Force and Hamas. So we'll watch this clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
Just preempting any of the morons who want to claim that I'm saying that a Jewish life is worth 10 American lives or anything like that. No,
Right.
It's extrapolating out from population. So if October the 7th had happened in America by proportion of population, it would have been 44,000 Americans murdered and burned alive in their homes in one day, and another 10,000 Americans taken hostage. So my challenge is, whether in Gaza with 1,200 civilians in Israel murdered and 250 taken hostage, and the two stated war aims of the Israeli government, the return of all the hostages and the destruction or capture of all of Hamas's leadership and fighting brigades. Whether it's in the case of Israel trying to carry out this operation of rescue and so on in Gaza, or whether it would be how America would get back 10,000 hostages in an equally built-up, intensely booby-trapped terrain. If anyone watching has a battle plan for how to do that, send it to me, and I will send it to everybody I know in Israel, because I'm sure that if there is a military genius watching and listening who knows how you would carry out that operation with no civilian casualties on the side of the Gazans and minimal to no casualties on the side of the IDF, I can assure anyone watching, I and many others would be all ears. But I hear no such thing. I hear no such thing. The best I've had, I think it came up in that Rogan debate, the best I've heard is the hostages that have been released by getting around a table and negotiating. Horse shit, said by people who don't know what they're talking about. The only reason Hamas has released any of the hostages to date, including the dead bodies of babies, is because of the kinetic military force exercised for 18 months by the young men and women of the IDF. Only military pressure has made Hamas give any of the hostages back. They would all still be sitting in underground tunnels and in the basements of Al Jazeera, journalists and much more, if there had been no military action in Gaza. Sinwar would still be alive if the IDF had not painstakingly fought in Gaza for a year. People simply do not understand this. And when they say things like, but why don't the Israelis just get around the table with Hamas? I'm afraid you completely demonstrate you know nothing about Hamas.
What do you think Israel's policy should be going forward around hostages? I know this is difficult for you to answer, perhaps given the fact that you know many of these families, but I mean, so I think I can only imagine that there are very few people in Israel now who think that the Gilad Shalit deal was wise in retrospect. That was you might summarize what that was, but that was I think the 1,027 terrorists to one hostage exchange that freed Sinwar to mastermind October 7th. That piece of history looks increasingly untenable, and given the understandable pressure brought to bear by the hostage families throughout this war, given the fact that the leverage is undeniable. Once you have hostages, you have leverage. How does this get broken in the future?
Let me preempt that by saying that there are similar cases around. When I was reporting from Ukraine recently, I was, among other things, interviewing families and children who had been behind the enemy lines, had been in territory captured by Putin's forces. And it's thought that around 20,000 Ukrainian children have effectively been kidnapped by Putin and the Russians. This includes people in orphanages, but it also includes children that were encouraged to go to summer camps and their parents sent to summer camps and then were disappeared. I found out something very interesting the other week when I was looking into this story and trying to bring some more light to it, which is that there was there seems to me to have been an almost deliberate attempt of the Ukrainian side not to maximize this story.
Right.
Because, and this is something of a supposition speaking to some of the people campaigning for the kidnapped children, that the Zelensky government knew that the minute that it is about getting the children back, you will get intolerable pressure from your domestic population, because anything is worth it to get the children home.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible, terrible thing. And I suspect that some of their thinking on that has been influenced by watching the Israelis being pushed into this intolerable position. It's incredibly hard in Israel because not only is there the religious edict to fight for life, and that this is one of the commandments central to the faith, but it is also a commandment that then is central to the state. Everybody, when they join the army, the air force, or anything, everyone flying a dangerous raid over enemy territory is told, if something happens, we will come and get you back. We'll come and get you back. We tear up the earth to get our people back. Everybody in the IDF knows, no man left behind. No man left behind in the battlefield. And so Hamas, like Hezbollah, know that that is the Israeli view, that they put an exceptionally high price on life. And by the way, that isn't just the life of Jews, to preempt one inevitable line of attack. It is literally to get back every Israeli. And the Israelis who have been captured, by the way, included Bedouin, Arabs, Druze, and others. But it's agonizing. It is completely agonizing, as Hamas knew it would be. Some families of the hostages refused to engage in the Hostage Families Forum and its work, because they said, we know, and our child knew, and sometimes the child had left a message saying, please don't swap me. It's not worth it. Other families will suffer. And they really do. I mean, there was in one of the swaps, I myself, having, spent all this time there and getting to know so many people involved, victims and families and more, I myself had one the other month where one of the hostages released was someone whose family I know well. And one of the terrorists released in swap from the Israeli side was a man who killed the brother of a friend of mine in Israel some years ago. So one family is celebrating in a way which is like a miracle.
Yeah, you cannot begrudge that celebration.
And on the other hand, there's a family who knows that their loved one's killer is free after only a few years in prison. So this is all just horrible, and it's deliberately horrible because Hamas makes it so. The torture porn they push out on videos, videoing hostages, watching the release of other hostages in order to double up the pressure.
That before one of these hostages was released, he was told that he should say how, in front of the camera, how excited he is to be reunited with his families. And the captors knew that his family had been executed by them previously, and so like they were laughing and enjoying the idea that he thought that he was getting out of his hostage situation. He was going into freedom, and he was going to go back to his family, them knowing that he was not going to be going back to his family, unfortunately. And so these are the most demonic people that you could imagine on planet Earth right now. Not only with that, but you see them coming out so emaciated. The only thing that Hamas has or had is the propaganda game, where they can get world opinion against Israel, making the Palestinians look like they are an oppressed people. Meanwhile, the main ones that are oppressing them are Hamas themselves. And so hopefully these images that are coming out now, and the demonry that you see from these sorts of statements, like making a poor man say how excited he is about seeing his family, knowing full well that they had executed them, is the most disgusting, vile type of human. So God willing, this hostage situation is going to resolve itself in the very near future, and Hamas is going to be utterly destroyed. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch with you. Take care.